Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 19th of September and we are going to cover three very important topics which are in news. As we cover every day, we will be covering them today also in a holistic manner. That is, what is important from prelims point of view, you will be able to take out. What is important from mains point of view, you will be able to take out. And let's begin with the first topic. First is Eastern Economic Forum, which becomes important because our Minister for Shipping actually visited Russia for this forum. Eastern Economic Forum is a forum which was established way back in 2015 with the objective of developing or bringing in foreign investments in the far eastern part of Russia. Now many countries including India, Japan, China, they've made investments over there. What kind, in what domains they want investments? Russians over there in the far eastern region, investments in infrastructure, investment in exploitation of or exploration of mineral resources, like a lot of oil and natural gas resources are there. The Sakhalin Island or the Sakhalin oil fields are there. So from there we can take resources out, we can increase economic activity. Infrastructure sector, that will also invite investments over there in the far eastern region. So this Eastern Economic Forum is all about that. Second is waste to energy. Now to understand this concept, let us understand the concept of waste. You generate waste in your homes. That waste goes and to the dump site and it creates a mountain of trash. We see such kind of mountains everywhere, particularly in big cities like Delhi. And waste to energy is nothing but if we are utilizing this waste for producing energy. We might have heard about terms like circular economy. Circular economy is what? We utilize this waste for some other things. We complete the circle. Here it is a line, it is linear presently. But if we create energy out of it, then that concept will be called as waste to energy and it will create the circle. We will be able to use it again. In what form energy can be used from this waste? We can generate heat. We can convert it into a biofuel and consume it likewise. So this is, or these are the ways in which this can be used, and that is the concept of waste to energy. Next is the World Ozone Day. Now when I talk about the World Ozone Day, the World Ozone Day is celebrated on September 16th every year. What is ozone? Ozone is actually an atmospheric gas present in the atmosphere. What is its significance? Ozone's significance is that ozone absorbs the harmful ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. There are types of ultraviolet rays A, B, C. The harmful ones of them are absorbed by the ozone, the rest are passed on to the earth. Just imagine a situation when these also were passed on, the harmful rays are also allowed to pass on the earth. It will destroy vegetation, it will destroy our skin, it will cause various diseases, it will not let agriculture to prosper because agricultural crops will get destroyed due to those ultraviolet radiations. And this was actually happening. 1970s, 1980s, the scientists found out that harmful ultraviolet radiations are reaching the earth. Then they did a lot of research and then they found out that it is the human activities which have created a hole in the ozone, and through that hole these are coming, harmful ultraviolet rays. What human activities created that hole? Human activities like use of ozone depleting substances like chlorofluorocarbons. It was kind of an element which we used in various, I would say, day-to-day elements of our lives, like deodorants, there were CFCs, like refrigerators, the gas of the refrigerators or the refrigerant was a CFC. In ACs, in medical purposes, we use CFCs a lot. So that CFCs, when it was getting emitted, it was causing, or it was absorbing the ozone. It was absorbing the ozone, a hole was being created and harmful UV rays were coming down. They were creating problems over here. So we decided in 1987, and the term is, or I would say the agreement is, Montreal Protocol. Here we decided that we will stop using ozone depleting substances. We were successful in doing so, and we were successful in shrinking the ozone hole. In short, saving our planet. But this agreement has gone further. How this agreement looks like, what it is, we'll see in this particular topic. So let us start with the first topic now, that is Eastern Economic Forum. The Eastern Economic Forum, formed in 2015 by Russia. Aim of this forum is to bring in foreign investments in the far eastern region of Russia. There are many countries which are surrounding this region: China, Mongolia, Japan, South Korea, and it also has a maritime boundary with USA. These regions were relatively less developed in Russia, and hence Russia was inviting foreign investment for developing this region. Foreign investments in domains like infrastructure development, exploitation and exploration of mineral resources over there, in foreign investment in agriculture also. So that is Eastern Economic Forum, and our Ports and Shipping Minister recently visited the annual summit of Eastern Economic Forum, where Vladimir Putin, the Honorable President of Russia, was seen talking about and praising India's Make in India policy. So let's begin this particular topic, that is Eastern Economic Forum deals with encouraging investments in the far eastern Russia. There was this meeting of Eastern Economic Forum from September 10 to September 13th. Now about EEF, we should know this as aspirants mainly. Eastern Economic Forum was established in 2015. I've already told this, to encourage foreign investments in the Russia's Far East region. Already told this. EEF displays the economic potential, suitable business conditions, and investment opportunities in the region. As of 2022, almost 2729 investment projects are being planned. Some of them are being executed also in this region. The agreements focus on infrastructure, transportation projects, mineral excavations, construction, industry, and agriculture. The forum aimed at connecting Far East with Asia Pacific region. Now, where is this Asia Pacific region? We will also see that. Now, this is actually Russia's Far East district, and you can see countries like USA sharing a maritime boundary over here. Then we have Japan, maritime boundary over here. We have North Korea over here. Then we have Mongolia over here, and then we have China also over here. So recently the North Korean president, or the North Korean chief, Kim Jong-un, visited Russia, and he went through train. Land connectivity is there. Here are Sakhalin Island. This is Sakhalin Island, which is part of Russia. Indian investments are here. Actually, India is into extraction of oil and natural gas from this particular region. Now about Russia's Far East districts. When I talk about the Russia's Far East districts, Far East Federal District is the easternmost part of Russia and borders the Pacific and Arctic Ocean, having 5 countries: China, Japan, Mongolia, United States, and North Korea. It encompasses 1/3 of Russia's territory. fish, oil, natural gas, wood, diamonds, coal and other minerals are found there. And Russian government has strategically developed the region with the aim of connecting Russia to the Asian trading routes. Now this portion is part of Asia, or this is called as Asia Pacific, where Asian countries are there like Russia, China, Japan, South Korea and all, and they are on their eastern side, it is the Pacific Ocean. This is Asia Pacific. So this connectivity or integration more with the Asia Pacific region is also one of the aims of this Eastern Forum. Initiatives by India in East Russia, that is also very important to understand. What is India's presence over there? Because India was being invited and India has invested also in Far East of Russia. Niti Aayog and Ministry for Development of the Russian Far East are actually working on a plan to develop Arctic and Russia's Far East between 2020 and 2025. And we have offered them a line of credit of $1 billion. Line of credit is kind of a loan which is extended from one party to the other party at less rate of interest, generally it is. India offered 1 billion line of credit to develop it. ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Cooperation, the foreign arm of ONGC is ONGC Videsh Limited, OVL, purchased stakes in the Sakhalin-1 project in this region. India, Japan and Russia concluded their first track 2 also. Now track 2 is unofficial, but yes, all these three are wanting to invest in some project over there. There can be a possibility that ONGC Videsh Limited and Japan collectively collaborate in exploitation or exploration or excavation of oil from that region. Now there is this India's Act Far East policy. We've covered Act East policy. We have a Act Far East policy which is actually not so popular and not so formal, but yes, inside the foreign policy we have this Act Far East policy also with respect to development or our investments in Russia's Far East. Actually, it is not only economic investments over there. We should understand this fact. It is also strategic investment over there, because see, China is just there, USA is there. So why shouldn't we be there? If we do not be there, then China actually will make inroads too much, and China-Russia nexus can be detrimental to us. So we should, in every possible way, in every possible capacity of ours, be present there. This will give our presence over there, and maybe our presence can also balance the Russia-USA conflict over there. Actually, we want to promote this only. So this is basically about India's initiatives in Far East Russia. Waste to energy. We generate waste in our homes. The rag pickers come, kude wale bhaiya come, take that waste, go dump that waste in that dump site. As a result, the dump site keeps on increasing. Now just imagine those rag pickers, the kude wale bhaiya, are instructed by the authorities ki you don't have to dump it, you have to separate it, wet waste, dry waste. Wet waste will be converted into fertilizers, it will be used by the farmers. Or dry waste, it will be recycled, which can be recycled, or that dry waste which cannot be recycled, that will be burnt to produce heat, that heat will produce electricity. Now the rag pickers, it will be a very difficult job for them, the kude wale bhaiya, to segregate wet and dry. After that mix up of wet and dry. So what they do? They do not segregate, they just dump it in the dump sites. Dump sites keep on increasing. Actually, it is very difficult. But whatever I have told you right now, wet waste decomposed to get fertilizers, dry waste which is recyclable, recycled, reused, dry waste which is not recyclable, burnt to produce heat, that will produce electricity. All these are examples of waste to energy. It is very good to hear about this, but yes, this is actually not getting possible because we, the people who are generating the waste, at the source we are not segregating it. Now just imagine you start segregating the waste at source, wet waste, dry waste. You have two dustbins separate, and you know what waste is wet, you know what waste is dry. When the kude wale bhaiya comes, you hand over two garbage bins to that person. So his job is easy, he doesn't have to segregate. The wet waste will go decompose, fertilizers, dry waste, recyclable, non-recyclable, that has to be segregated, that is easy to segregate. Then actually waste to energy will be possible only then, with our efforts in the beginning of this cycle. Otherwise, it will never become a cycle, it will never become a circular, or it will never become a circle, it will always be linear, and it will be causing that increased mounds of trash, kude ke pahad, which we call in Hindi. That is very, very important. Segregation. Then only waste to energy will be possible. Are we generating electricity by burning non-recyclable dry waste? Yes, we have around 6-7 plants installed in India already, the latest one being in Kochi, Kerala. Delhi itself has 2 plants. India's largest plant is coming up in Gurugram, waste to energy plants. That will help reduce the amounts of dirt, and that will also not have a negative impact on the environment, because that mountains of trash, they are causing a lot of environmental problems as well. So that is going to be a win-win situation, and that is why Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0's one of the agenda is to create circular economy. Waste to energy it has promoted, and it is being done. Let us see what is waste to energy, or energy from waste is basically a concept, or is the process of generating energy in the form of electricity and or heat from the primary treatment of waste or the processing of waste into a fuel source. Acha, we can also generate biofuels from this, from the waste. Like for example, rice husk, parali is an agricultural waste. We earlier used to burn them, now we can process them and make it into ethanol, convert it into ethanol. Ethanol further can be blended in petrol and be used in vehicles. WTE is a form of energy recovery from the waste. Most WTE processes generate electricity and or heat directly. This process, in which we are burning the non-recyclable dry waste, is called as incineration. So, just to dispel your confusion, waste is of 2 types, dry and wet. Wet waste decomposed and formed into fertilizers, or it can also be formed into ethanol. Dry waste is further of 2 types, recyclable, non-recyclable. Recyclable, we recycle it and we use it. Non-recyclable dry waste is that waste which is not recyclable. We burn that and we create heat, we generate heat. From that heat, we boil the water, convert it into steam. That steam rolls on the turbines and the turbines generate electricity. This is the classification of waste. So, it is saying that most waste to energy processes generate electricity and or heat directly through combustion. Combustion is called as incineration, or produce a combustible fuel commodities such as methane, ethanol, or things like these. Which type of waste is used to produce energy? Dry waste, wet waste, which kind of waste? Waste to energy projects use the non-recyclable dry waste to generate electricity. That dry waste which is non-recyclable, we burn that. The process increases the state's power generation capacity and eases solid waste management burden also on them. Particularly this solid waste management burden is largely on the municipalities. Generally solid waste in India is 55 to 60% biodegradable, means wet waste. Organic waste this is called as, which can be converted into organic compost or biogas. 25 to 30% non-biodegradable dry waste it is there. And then in dry waste we have recyclable, non-recyclable, and around 15% silt, stones and drain waste. Of the non-biodegradable dry waste, only 2 to 3% including hard plastics, metals and e-waste is recyclable. The rest 97% is non-recyclable, which is a challenge which we are burning and generating, or which we can burn and generate electricity. The remainder consists of low grade plastic, rags, cloths which can't be recycled. Now this fraction of non-recyclable dry waste is most challenging portion of the present solid waste management system. This is the most challenging part. Waste, dry, wet. Wet is decomposed organic waste, not a problem. Dry, recyclable, not a problem. Non-recyclable, a problem. Out of this dry waste, only 2 to 3% is recyclable. The rest 97 to 98% is non-recyclable, and this is a problem. This we burn to create electricity. Waste to energy plants use this portion to generate power. The waste is combusted to generate heat, which is converted into electricity. Waste to energy plants in major cities could also consume portion of non-recyclable dry waste generated in other urban local bodies nearby. Let's suppose I am staying in a city, Gurgaon, and I am creating that waste to energy plant over there, India's biggest. So I can take waste from other municipal bodies like Faridabad also, like nearby Manesar also I can take, or nearby Delhi region also I can take. You can contribute your waste here, we are generating electricity. That is non-recyclable dry waste, because waste to energy plants will burn non-recyclable dry waste. Recyclable ko to recycle we'll do. Wet waste we'll again use that for creating biogas or for creating fertilizers. That is not a problem. Problem is this. So you might be thinking, sir, it is easy, why a problem, we just have to burn it. Actually there are problems also in this. Why do waste to energy plants fail? Many waste to energy plants, they fail. Again, the issue is that dry waste which is non-recyclable has to be burnt to generate heat. Now that particular waste, if it is not segregated properly at the source, has some wetness in it, has some moisture content in it. And when anything having moisture content in it is burnt, it will create less heat. Hence, the calorific value of that non-recyclable dry waste, which is not so dry because of not improper segregation, is very low as compared to other, I would say, purely dry waste. So let's see what is the calorific value. The calorific value of mixed Indian waste is about 1500 kilocalories per kg. Calorific value can be defined as the amount of heat which is generated by burning 1 kg of that particular fuel. Here in this case, that element which is burnt is that dry waste, which is actually not so dry, and only by burning per 1 kg of that dry waste, only 1500 kilocalories of energy is achieved. Whereas coal's calorific value, if I talk about, obviously it is unmatchable to coal, but yes, we should understand the context that coal's calorific value is 8,000 kilocalories per kg. Biodegradable waste has high moisture content and can't be used for power generation, it should be decomposed instead. The calorific value of segregated and dried non-recyclable dry waste is much higher. This is calorific value of mixed Indian waste, which is largely being used because we are not segregating it. But if we segregate it, then the calorific value will be just double of it. 1500 kilocalories per kg is here. It will be somewhere around 300 kilocalories per kg if we segregate it and make the dry waste dry completely. Obviously, it is less as compared to coal. We cannot match coal, but yes, we have to do something of this also, this dry waste. We have to tackle this as well. So, however, segregation ideally at the source, if not at the processing plant, should be streamlined to ensure waste coming to the facility is dry. Maximum possibility is that it is dry or it has the least amount of moisture content in it. So again, it is we the people who will be responsible for reducing those mountains of trash by segregating the waste in our homes. Just a small activity which can actually take us a long way. Now, high cost of energy production is there. The cost of generating power from waste is around rupees 7 to 8 rupees per unit. Whereas electricity generated from coal, hydroelectric and solar power plants is just around 3 to 4 rupees per unit. Improper management. Many waste to energy projects have failed because of improper assessments, high expectations, improper management of those. At times waste is not readily available to them so that they can burn, and that is why we said that we can tie up with the neighboring municipalities also. But again, it will be successful only and only if segregation is done at the source properly. So by this video, I am also wanting to spread this message to you कि if you are not doing this thing at your homes, in your respective homes, start doing it. Irrespective of the fact that the garbage collectors or the rag pickers or the kude wale bhaiya are taking separate garbage or not, but yes, if you start giving it, maybe they also, it will definitely make things easier for them. The place where I live, I cannot give mixed garbage. I have to segregate it, wet and dry. They will not take. So there can be a possibility that in the times to come, this will happen. But before that, you should change. So charity begins at home. Then solutions. One solution, that is the biggest solution, that is proper segregation at source. It should be done. Setting up waste to energy projects, municipality, state and other people also should be taking care of it. Then proper planning and execution of the projects. They should not come to a standstill, or they should not run at suboptimal levels. They should be running at their desired or optimum capacity. That should be there. And for that purpose, if the state electricity board, the municipalities which is important, or which will be responsible for collecting the waste, and the plant operator who will be operating this plant, all three should come into partnership, or there should be proper coordination among them, because the plant operator will be generating electricity and supplying to the state electricity board only, which is responsible for electricity distribution. It is the municipality which will be collecting the garbage, giving that garbage to that plant. So all three, these stakeholders should be with each other in proper coordination. Now, this is basically a list of waste to energy plants in India which are presently generating electricity by burning coal. We have actually 2 plants in Delhi, Okhla and Ghazipur. South Delhi, East Delhi. Maharashtra, Solapur mein. Third plant in Delhi, Narela, Bhavana. 3 plants in Delhi. Madhya Pradesh, Jabalpur, there is this plant. Then recently it was opened up in Kerala, Kochi, 6 megawatt. Now we can see the highest is Narela, Bhavana right now, which is in Delhi, 24 megawatt. I was saying that the largest is coming up in Gurgaon. The capacity of that plant is going to be 26 megawatt. That is why we are calling it the largest plant. So presently over here we are producing electricity, but yes, we are meeting certain challenges also. The challenges are due to the less calorific value of that waste which is collected, because we mix that waste with wet waste. World Ozone Day, celebrated on September 16th. Why September 16th? Because in the year 1987, there was an international organization or an international protocol which was adopted, known as the Montreal Protocol. However, we should understand that from 1987 onwards, we did not start celebrating this day. We started celebrating this day from 1994 onwards, but this day was celebrated on September 16th because on September 16th, the Montreal Protocol was signed. What was this Montreal Protocol? This Montreal Protocol was an international agreement which was binding on all the signatories to phase off their usage of ozone depleting substances. Ozone depleting substances which were depleting the ozone, creating a hole in the ozone, which was letting ultraviolet rays to come on the earth. I would say the harmful ultraviolet rays which were coming to the earth. These harmful ultraviolet rays were harmful in many aspects. It could destroy the vegetation, the agricultural crops, our skins. We would have had skin cancers frequently. It could have caused various diseases. The scientists discovered this, did this international cooperation, and it is considered as one of the most successful international agreements till now, the Montreal Protocol. Signed on 16 September 1987, and that is why we are celebrating this as the World Ozone Day. So let's start. World Ozone Day 2023, the theme was Montreal Protocol, fixing the ozone layer and reducing climate change. Reducing climate change, on this I will come later. I will explain why this was there. Okay, but yes, let us first understand. This is the earth. Here we have ozone. But 1970s, 1980s, what we started experiencing was that there was a hole created in the ozone which was letting the harmful ultraviolet rays to enter the earth. The places where ozone was present, the harmful ultraviolet rays did not come. They were absorbed by the ozone over there. But wherever this hole was, these came down to the earth, which were causing problems. Now, why September 16 has been chosen? I've already explained this, but yes, let us look into it again. Because on this particular day, that is 16 September, the International Day for Preservation of Ozone Layer is celebrated. Why? Because in 1987, Montreal Protocol on substances that delete ozone layer came into force or was signed. It came into force 2 years down the line, that is 1989. But that Montreal Protocol, in which we decided to stop using ozone depleting substances. Ozone depleting substances were many, major of them was the CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbon. CFC we call it. All the countries of the world or all the signatories of this Montreal Protocol had to adopt this. Developed countries were given less time, developing countries were given more time, and underdeveloped countries were given more time to stop the usage of CFC. Where were CFCs used? They were used in refrigerators, ACs as refrigerants. They were used in for medical purposes in the hospitals. They were used by us in deodorants and all. So multiple day-to-day lives, CFCs were used. They were used in foams, They were used in mattresses, everywhere. That foam mattress is there for generating that foam. CFCs were used. So we had to, stop the usage of it. And we were thinking about, alternates to it. We found one alternate for CFC, and that alternate was none other than the HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons. This was not ozone depleting, but did the same work what CFCs were doing. HFCs, like they were acting like refrigerants in your ACs, in your fridge. And that is why you might have seen various electronic appliances like AC and fridge where it would have been written CFC free, means no CFC is there. Why no CFC is there? Because of this Montreal Protocol. So, but they have been replaced by HFCs. They were replaced by HFCs, which was not an ozone depleting substance. It was not an ozone depleting substance. Okay. So, as of now, we need to understand this. Under the protocol, Montreal Protocol, the developed, all countries had equal but differentiated responsibilities reflected in different timetables. As I told you, they had equal responsibility, means all had to phase out ozone depleting substances, use of that, but differentiated in form of different timetables. Developed countries are given less time, developing a bit more time, underdeveloped the highest time. It was binding, time targeted and measurable commitments were there. The Montreal Protocol also led to adoption of multilateral fund to aid developing countries in implementation of the protocol. ठीक है, Montreal Protocol is there, ozone depleting substances have to go away and HFCs have to be adopted. HFCs were adopted, ozone depleting substances phase out हो गया. As a result, we call Montreal Protocol a successful protocol or a successful international agreement. But in 2015, there was an amendment in this. What was the amendment? The amendment was that, now we have to phase out HFCs also. HFCs, remember, hydrofluorocarbon, which replaced the CFCs. HFCs were not ozone depleting substances, but we had to phase them out now. The developing countries and underdeveloped countries told the developed countries why it is not an ozone depleting substance. Why we have to phase out? The logical answer to this question was that HFC may not be an ozone depleting substance. It is not an ozone depleting substance. It's okay. But it is a short-lived climate pollutant which is causing climate change. Or global warming. It is a greenhouse gas. Hence, we need to phase it out also. We need to, stop its usage. Developing countries like India initially were not too happy with this fact because, we knew that the developed countries have, developed some new technology or they are on the brink of developing a new technology, and that new technology will actually help them earn a lot of dollars because they will sell that technology to developing and underdeveloped countries and they will earn. That is why they are advocating for phase out of this also, HFCs also. India initially did not accept this, but yes, later on India accepted it. India has ratified it. Here also the same provision is there. Developed countries have less time to phase out. Developing countries have more time than the developed countries, and underdeveloped countries have the maximum time. Underdeveloped countries have this time till 2047. Developing countries like India by 2038, and developed countries by 2026-27 they have to phase out. But here we do not have to bring the usage to 0% of HFCs. We have to phase out and reduce it to 80%. So let us look into the details. It entered into force in 2019, this amendment. It is called as the Kigali Agreement because it was adopted or signed in the city of Kigali. 3 groups the countries were divided into. We have to achieve 80% reduction in HFC's consumption by 2047. 2047 why? Because the least developed countries have this as the year, target year. It is a legally binding agreement designed to create rights and obligations in international law. Up till 2021 July, 122 countries have ratified the Kigali Agreement or Kigali Amendment. We also have ratified it now. Being under Group 2, India will develop its national strategy for phasing down of hydrofluorocarbons by 2023. By 2023, we will develop this strategy, how we will phase down. But we have to phase it down by 2038. We have to reduce usage of HFCs by 80%. Now about hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs are a group of industrial chemicals which are used for cooling and refrigeration as replacements for ozone depleting substances like CFCs. Earlier as refrigerants CFCs were used, now HFCs are used. Though they are not ozone depleting substances, they are part of short-lived climate pollutants, SLCPs we call them, and they have a high global warming potential, and that is why under the Kigali Agreement we are talking about reducing the usage of HFCs by 80% because it is causing global warming. And India has ratified this agreement now. Earlier India was also apprehensive of it. India was saying that it is, I would say, a step taken by the West just to increase their incomes from the developing and underdeveloped countries because they'll sell that technology to them. But we can develop our own. This is the magic of research and development. We can reduce our dependence upon others. Why to depend upon them? We can develop better technology than them. We have that capacity as well. So that is why research and development is important, and that is why in the beginning I told you that this year's theme, fixing the ozone layer and reducing climate change. Why reducing climate change was introduced in this year's theme? I think you have got to understand by now. So this is it from today's session. I will be meeting you with some more important and relevant information from the exam point of view tomorrow. Till then, keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Jai Hind, take care.